What's going on, listeners? Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with a Martial Artist. I've got a very good one for you today. Today we are talking about sumo with Sonny Bell. He's a three-time national champion. He's the president of England Sumo and the founder of the London Sumo Club. He's also a Reprimo-sponsored athlete. So he's out there doing the sumo thing on the biggest stages around the world and spreading awareness for the art. Fantastic time. It's a really fun sport, really niche, and something that I think a lot of people can enjoy. We talk about a ton of stuff today. Hopefully you will enjoy it too. Make sure you support Sonny for giving up his time and follow him on his journey. All of the links are in the description below. Before we start, please do make sure you are supporting the podcast as well. Total zero cost way of doing it is just follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, whatever floats your boat, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a subscribe, give us a like, and share this with someone else. Now, without further ado, I will let you guys get on to learning about sumo. Thank you very much for coming down. Thank you for making the journey.
Great to be here.
And I'm very excited to have you on. We were talking a little bit off camera about, obviously, sumo is super interesting, and it's one of those sports which a bit out of nowhere has sort of started to blow up, and I think you're carrying the back of it quite well at the moment. But it's one that I've been very interested to talk to someone about, and you seem like the man to ask questions to, largely for the UK, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it's been huge, obviously. So much growth in the sport. It's been literally fantastic. When I started, where it was basically maybe 2 clubs in the whole of the UK, and now we're looking at just in England getting up to like the dozen to like 15 mark of clubs.
Amazing.
And then you've got clubs growing in Ireland, you've got clubs already and still growing in Scotland as well. So having this whole sort of like beautiful, like massive growth, especially in the past, like more or less the past 2 years to 1 year.
I was going to say, I'd never really seen much about it. I'm always floating around in nerdy martial arts scenes, so I tend to see these things come, but sumo really nothing until like last year or so.
It really has
like
been,
you say,
I mean, I do think we had a massive boom, obviously, earlier last year with Royal Albert Hall in October. That was
the sumo wrestlers from Japan going viral.
And it gave a huge limelight to sumo in general. I mean, that was the first time it was back in the UK, outside, first time out of Japan, for the last like 34 years, something like that. And obviously the time before then was back in London as well. So it was a monumental thing to have like come back, massive event. Obviously everyone loved it. You know, you're seeing sumo everywhere, and then all of a sudden you get guys like yourself, everyone else, they were like, this seems really cool, I want to see what I can do there. And it just really speeds up the whole process when you have these massive events that make people more interested.
Yeah, and we were talking about some of them as well. There's a bunch of other sort of shows and things coming up at the moment. They're really pushing for it and seemingly selling out very fast.
Very quickly,
great. So it's fantastic. And I was saying off camera, I've had friends message me going, oh, I really want to go and try out this sumo club, do you want to come down? And I'm like, how random, I wouldn't have ever expected it from my friend group, certainly.
No, it really is though, and you know, when you look at it, I mean, sumo in itself is what I really love about it. Is one thing is it's actually a really close-knit community. You know, we've got guys recently who've obviously just started out. They've never done maybe another martial art before, or they don't really feel like they've done any sport really. They come in, they want to give it a go, and they really enjoy it. And it's always like a massive welcoming. Like it's so tight knit. Like you could end up first club, you could go to say Southampton, and you can have your first session there, and you could love it and meet some really nice guys there. Then you take a big trip over to London because they come up to train with us all the time. So again, you come up there, you meet a new whole group of people. Everyone's either fresh or doing it a couple months, or maybe even a couple of years, depending on what they are. And then all of a sudden, if you say, for example, just on social media, you've got this huge now, just like developed circle of sumo people. You know, for me anyway, obviously, you know, I've been really trying to push sumo as much as I can, you know, in any avenue, you know, like we're doing here now. And the amount of people you get from, you know, the States, you get from around Asia, you've got some in Europe, like everyone just loves it when they're in the circle as well. So the sumo community is just like always really welcoming, really inviting, and always happy to help and push through, which is really fantastic.
Yeah, that is really cool. I wonder what it is about sumo itself that does, because you see loads of martial arts, you know, float around and exist and try and grow, but sumo for some reason has just got this crazy momentum at the moment.
Yeah, I mean it really has. I mean it's interesting to say, obviously, like you look at say BJJ like 30 years ago, nothing what it is now, where it's like every club does it, everyone has to do it. And a lot of guys who come in and speak about sumo with us, they are a bit like, it's a bit like BJJ in the sense that like it's so nothing, but it's yet growing exponentially. Like it's really cool to see. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not, but like maybe. It might be. But you never know. Yeah. Listen, you never know. But it's really interesting to see it as a whole scale, as you say, like the fact it is growing so much. But I think it's when you have these figureheads of people, like we've had some new people come who've only been doing sumo maybe like a year tops, like maybe more like the 8-month mark. But the amount they've done for the sumo community is huge in the UK anyway, like taking absolute reins when it comes to doing social media output, when you're coming into like doing these really important organised events, absolutely not shying away from a challenge and getting stuck in straight in head first and making sure it's done properly and building these beautiful stepping stones to carry on getting better and better as a sport, as a community,
just
all together. So, being this massive net that lets anyone come in, you get these amazing creative outlets from loads of guys who just decide, I'm going to do this, and they start going for it, and it's amazing. You see these guys training more and all this lot. And I even had, I was down in even today, but I started going to train with these guys at Great Britain top top team. Yeah, that's it, top team. And there's two guys there. One's like a bare knuckle boxing coach. The other guy does like normal sessions there and all this lot. But both of them, they came to me and they were talking about how they haven't really felt very motivated in any sport they've been doing recently, and they're kind of in a lull. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And then they reached out and said, we've entered into the English Nationals, which is coming up in March. And we entered it. I said, amazing. He goes, can we get some private sessions? I was like, of course you can. No worries at all. Let me know. I'll come down and we'll do some training sessions. So they've had two already. But like, it's the fact that you've gone from no motivation at all to all of a sudden, because it's so open, fine, I'll compete in the national level competition. And because it is so open and so fresh, you can do that, and this is like a legit thing. You can just enter, no problem, no experience needed, see how well you do. And that's exactly what I say to most people when they do try it, even if they are a bit shied away. I do think competitions in itself are really important to actually get better at any sport you do. You can train as much as you want, but if you want to really improve in that sport, I think it's really important to have a game day, have an actual day where you're really channeling everything. This isn't just going through movements here. Now you're trying them out, and you have to really go for it. And it goes the same way in sumo, but on a even like smaller scale, in the sense that you really could just do anything you wanted. Even like 2 weeks ago, we had the British Championships, and some of the guys there, I mean, to be fair, most of the guys there have been doing it a bit longer, but anyone could have entered, and it could have been their first time doing sumo if they wanted to. Like it really is that sort of idea of it, which is really fun. It's one of those things where I think it's a sport you could take very far, even if you're quite new to it. It's the same way when I started. Like my first competition I ever did was a European Championships.
Oh wow!
And these guys don't mess around. Like, these guys these are legit. Like they are so like big, strong. I was like 17, 18 at the time, and I was going on these like burly, like huge Bulgarian men. And I was like, oh great, I can't wait. I just got battered. but these things like
character building.
But you learn so much from it, and having that opportunity, even from a very young age and from a young starting point of sumo, it was just really, really great.
That is really cool. I guess you're absolutely right. There's like a fairly low barrier to entry at the moment. If it's very much a growing sport, and there's not that, like jiu-jitsu, like you say, there's not one on every street corner. You have to go for it. So yeah, I mean, it is a good opportunity to just have a go. And I suppose the concept of it's fairly simple as an art, right? I'd say for anyone unfamiliar with sumo, which if you're this far into the podcast already, I can't imagine that you are. But would you just explain sort of the rules and the concept of sumo stuff?
So I always do say, especially in coaching, I'll be like, sumo is the easiest sport to understand, but probably one of the hardest to master, as all mixed martial arts are. So the basis is, you and an opponent come into a ring. It's about 4 meters, like sort of like round vibe, and the idea is to either push them out the ring or make any part of their body touch the floor apart from the soles of their feet. And then the other reverse to that is, don't let them do that to you. So don't fall over, don't go out the ring, and don't like touch anything on the ground. So it very much is once you start, it's just a quick explosion of contact, and then push, shove, maybe a throw, and then a few trips maybe, and then it's whoever lands on the back first, or obviously touches the ground, they are the one that loses.
And typically they're quite short matches, aren't they?
Really short.
Because it's quite hard to do that.
Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 seconds most matches, like on average. Like there's some quicker ones, but no match will ever really go further than maybe the 20-second mark, especially at like a competition level. Like you're looking very rare for that. The ones that do go on really long never go over a minute.
Right. And I guess that's a long minute.
Really long minute. And if you do ever go like to the absolute point of almost it's actually getting too long, they will call it. I think it's either 2 or 3 minutes. They literally just say stop.
Right.
And you have to like take a break and you get back into it after. Like it's like no one does that. Like it never happens almost. But obviously it can happen. But it's very, very short, explosive, and really powerful sort of bouts. But some guys I've trained before, they'll be like no issue with cardio at all. They've trained either judo or BJJ or something like that, and they come in to do this though. They'll do one like 5 second, 10 second bout, and they are huffing.
Yeah,
like, it's really intense for 5 to 10 seconds, and then you've got to say to them, okay, cool, now do it again, and do it again, and do it again. It really is like, whoa, this is like if you're not used to it, take it back. And I can't run at all. I am not a little road. I don't fucking like do that.
Don't worry, I'm with you, brother. I'm exactly the same.
Absolutely not. You never catch me on a treadmill. You won't catch me doing like road work. But in sumo, like I could easily do 6 rounds,
Just keep going,
quite happily, and then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely breathing out my arse a bit, But then it's just a complete different sort of set of cardio, I think. Having that physicality of it, it's like when you do wrestling, it's like the similar thing to that.
I guess that short burst means that for that 10 seconds or whatever it is, you're giving it everything, right? Trying to move these guys. Yeah, that I can see that being very, very challenging. But I mean, again, barrier for entry wise, it's not that complex, like you say. So it is quite nice for sort of a fairly beginner level, like you say, just go in and have a go.
Sorry, technical difficulties on that one. I don't know why, but the camera has given out on us, and we lost like 15 minutes of top quality sumo stuff.
Honestly, should have been there.
Yeah, you guys would have loved it, honestly. But we'll sort of cover a little bit of what we were speaking about, because I think it's a really important sort of concept. We were talking quite a lot about the cross training, and obviously we discussed the rules and how some of those other arts fit into it. I know you were talking briefly, maybe it's on there, maybe it isn't, about you've been training judo.
Yeah.
But you've also sort of experimented with a few other arts as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, like we said before, but basically, a lot of the other sports come into it. For me, anyway, judo for me is number one. It's one of the best ones, I think, in the general technique when it comes to throwing, body placement, and positioning. It's really great. Obviously, in sumo, there's no gi, so it's a bit different in that sense. When it comes to like the holds of the lapel and the arms, it's a bit different. But even myself, when I do train judo, I try to make sure whenever I'm doing it, it's almost accustomed more so to sumo. Like I've even said to the guy I train with, Sensei Joe, I said, I'm doing this to get better at sumo mainly. So I'm going to do all the techniques you teach and all this lot. But then when it comes down to it, when we're saying we're doing sparring,
don't tell me for my shit judo.
Yeah. Don't tell me. But I'm going to try and go for more of a guaranteed hip throw. So I might even give up on the arms and just focus on the body, or something along those lines. But other sports that are great for it, for me, I find, is obviously Greco-Roman wrestling as well. Freestyle, unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, you look at some countries that go and do sumo, especially the lighter weights, the 85 to the 100 kilos. They are just a monster. So one country in particular for me anyway is like Norway. They've got one of the strongest like freestyle wrestling teams, but as well as that, now it's the most strong like sumo team, like at minus 100 kilos. They've got like really 92 kilos, like probably got around like 10 athletes, 15 athletes that all compete at like world championship level, who also just do sumo.
And they've got all those wrestling backgrounds.
Exactly that. And then obviously you have the likes of like Bulgaria, Ukraine, who are also unreal when it comes to their freestyle wrestling. Absolute wrestling, amazing. So, all these guys are also great when it comes to sumo. But like we discussed before as well, the idea is though that obviously in sumo you push, and your idea is to remove them from the ring sometimes. So obviously in wrestling and judo, you don't really have a space awareness like that. It's more of just like either throw them to the ground or in wrestling, you're pinning them to the ground.
And if you go too far, you get reset.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whereas in obviously sumo, you take 2-3 steps and you're out. Like realistically,
is it that little? It's literally like
there's not many. I'd probably say 4 steps of someone my height. Like you're probably looking at around 4 steps because, like you say, it's only about 4 meters in total. So you've only got 2 meters to work with yourself just back if you were to go backwards. So it really is kind of that tight. Some other great ones, obviously, we spoke about were Sambo, amazing other art we can use
we were
for
saying Sambo are the guys
the
that
guys
just come
great
and
and
smash
always.
everyone at everything.
So Sambo, unreal. Bit of Shuai Jiao, really
Yeah.
good. The Chinese wrestling, really, really good. Judo, wrestling, I think that was that. And then we had the Korean belt wrestling
Yes,
as well.
this is one that we were talking about, which I was like, that is fascinating.
Yeah,
what a cool
yeah.
story.
Really
and then
good.
obviously
It's
the
fine.
camera failed.
We're going to
on us.
relive it. We're going to relive it. So yeah, it's called Serum. It's a Korean belt wrestling sport where, I mean, the first time I did it was actually for like the Serum Championships in Korea.
So funny.
I know, it was ridiculous. They
Fly into enemy territory.
Exactly. They flew us out there. It was amazing, and it was 2 weeks. So the first couple of days were training. So you flew out, bang, get training. What is Serum? Teach Serum.
How do I
the
do
whole thing.
this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the rule sets are quite similar to sumo, basically. So it's a much bigger ring. It's huge, like sand, very coarse, like quite like almost painful on your feet, but very nice, very good. And then it's a huge ring, so you can win by either making them leave the ring or any part of the body touches the ground, which again similar to sumo. But in Serum, you start with your grip. So you both get down on your knees, it will interlock. And in Serum, there's a belt that goes around your waist and also a secondary belt that goes around your leg. So you'll reach across and you'll basically link up with the back of the hip, and then one will go onto the leg, and then you stand up together, kind of like almost like parallel to each other, and then the referee will go go, and then you'll start like fucking tearing each other, like really like struggle, and then someone will eventually either twist them or pick them up or flip them, something like that, and they'll obviously win that way. It's a really, really hard sport, but very, very technically good though. Like really
I imagine
good.
that second belt grip must make.
Well, the leg's the real one.
Sorry, the leg grip.
So
Must
some
make it
people
work.
some people readjust their grip, so they'll let go of the back and maybe readjust it somewhere else. But chances are they never ever let go of the leg one because it's such a strong like grip on someone's literal thigh.
Yeah.
So
And can you grab legs in sumo as well?
you can grab legs
Like
in
you
sumo,
can run out
yeah.
and
You
shoot
can
a
leg,
single.
you can shoot a single leg, yeah. You can shoot a double leg if you want.
Yeah.
You just can't. You just can't.
you have a good
obviously-
double.
yeah, really good double. But obviously, you can't touch the ground before.
Yeah.
So it's singles are more popular, obviously. But in sumo, most of the guys, especially obviously the bigger guys, have massive legs. So realistically, you have to shoot two-handed single leg. There's no way
Gotta
you're doing
really
it.
commit.
Like, there's no way you're doing a single arm, single leg because the guy's legs are too big. Like they'll just shoot away. They'll like break it or just get rid of you. Like it's not strong enough. So it's really interesting on that side. Like sometimes it works really well. Like one popular method, especially for the lighter weights against bigger guys, is like kind of like I call it like a little bit of a peekaboo technique. So you'd actually in sumo the idea is when you're kind of hitting each other, you're meant to stay low as you can and then like smash.
Sure.
But the peekaboo technique is basically where you take maybe a couple steps back, maybe not many, but like a little bit step back, and the idea is you kind of pulse up. So as you come forward, you jump up, almost revealing yourself as being I'm up here now. And the idea is that this guy gets baited by that, matches you. And then you know that, and you dive straight down to get the leg.
Wow.
So I call it a peekaboo technique. So like, whoop, and then you straight under, and it's really effective. It's really effective. Like even if you tell someone like he's going to peekaboo you, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll be ready for it, and he does it, he'll do it. You still bait it so quickly, but it's really, really effective. And that comes again from that sort of that wrestling background. All these guys, mainly like the Ukrainians do it all the time, and they're really, really strong for it. Like they're really good. I mean, they are also like. From my opinion, anyway, like when you're talking about countries in Europe, Ukraine's probably like number one.
Okay.
For sumo, and then like it kind of goes just down from there, and it's all very high level. Like Ukraine, Georgia. It's hard third. Third's hard, but they're like.
Sorry, I don't think they're watching.
That's okay. They might. Yeah, definitely Ukraine, then Georgia, probably Poland.
Okay.
And then from there it kind of gets tricky because like some countries dominate other categories more than others.
Yeah.
Whereas like I find Ukraine dominate every category, Georgia dominate most categories, and then Poland also have a foot in most categories as well. So for me, that's obviously their powerhouse sort of side of things. But just absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think cross training for sumo is just like really important, especially because it can be a bit inaccessible when you say if you live somewhere that doesn't do it.
Yeah,
if you want to do sumo, but you can only train actual sumo like once a month, once every 2 months. It's amazing to pick up these other martial arts that can teach you kind of the fundamentals of how you should be moving
that
your
makes
body.
a lot of sense. And I suppose you can learn all the tricks and throws and stuff like that from other places,
Exactly.
and then put them into a sumo context like you do. Right?
Exactly that. I mean, also, we have different names for them in sumo to judo, but they're very, very similar.
Well, that's interesting because they're both Japanese. I'd imagine they'd be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Because most judo throws, I think, are fairly like just descriptive, aren't they? They're
Basically,
like,
yeah.
Oh, it's an outer leg reap or whatever.
Yeah. It more or less is that. I mean, there's the most common like two throws in sumo. One is called shitanage and one's called watanage, and they're both the exact same. Only one is outside arm, one's inside arm.
Oh, right.
So one's like reaching over, grabbing the belt, and one's underneath, grabbing the belt. Shitanage inside, watanage outside. But the emphasis of it is basically similar to like an uchimata, of like this like jumping hip throw in, throwing them over, hooking a leg on the way out. Like it's sort of the same way it goes around. But yeah, it's a completely different name.
And is the mawashi, did you say?
Yeah,
it is?
mawashi,
The mawashi. Is that sort of the money? Is that why they have it? Like that grip is...
It is so like, I think most people when they do sumo, I don't think they understand how valuable it is when they first start. Like that is the point where you shouldn't let anyone grab your mawashi.
Right.
Because it's so dangerous. Because if you're a bigger guy who can push people, great. If they grab your mawashi, you could then now not do anything. Like it's so easy for me when I'm with someone, if I grab the mawashi, to be able to take away their force.
Yeah, because I guess
you just
even
go,
a little lift,
just a little tug
will take
a
the
small
weight out
tug
of their legs,
on
right?
anywhere around the hips, just like you've lost your drive and you're kind of completely like messed up now. But then you can also then dictate where they want to go, where you're going to put them, which is really good. So like it's your weapon as well as your danger.
Yeah, of course,
like
yeah.
if you can use it before they can use it, even better. But obviously it's one of those things where it just is a bit harder to balance. So for example, I mean, most people in Japan, they usually don't even go for the mawashi until they have to.
Right.
So they'll actually, the first thing in their mind is engage, push, get them out of the ring.
You can move them. Yeah.
Get them out of the ring. And then if that doesn't work, then they might get tied up and then they'll start going from there, which is really good. Because like, for example, myself, I don't find myself super involved in the complete push all the way through. I definitely win probably most of my matches like that. But that's mainly because of the fact that I will get a belt grip usually. So most of the time I win by like a yurikiri of like grabbing the belt and then pushing them out with the belt versus no belt grip and just push them out like so.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different for some people, and that's just my preference.
I guess easier to disrupt, like if your hands are in front and you're pushing on their chest or whatever, then it's much easier for them to get in the way of that.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Whereas if you can actually get your arm round and onto their belt, then...
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I always say, like, if I get given a double inside grip on someone, there's no way I'm losing. That's only because, like, I'm that confident in a double inside grip that, like, and most people who do wrestle as well would also kind of, I'd appreciate, like, if you get your preferred grip and you're strong with it, there's probably no chance anyway, so it's fine.
And do a lot of individual sumo players, that's probably not the right term, is it? Is there a term? What is there a term
wrestlers?
for sumo? Are they sumo wrestlers?
Yeah, sumo wrestlers, yeah.
Sumo wrestlers. Do they have like distinct games typically? Like, this guy's really good at this style?
Yeah,
or
massively.
People switch a lot?
No, most wrestlers, especially in the pro division, have a style.
Right.
Sometimes though, you have to be well versed. So most of the top wrestlers, they're all their styles.
Yeah.
They can do all of them perfectly, and it's not an issue. But especially guys when they first sort of start coming up, they have these really great techniques that people will then be like, "That's his technique." Like, this is what this guy can do all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever you
just
put
do
him
that,
there, he'll do it, and you'll lose, and you'll lose, and you'll lose, and then you get to a really high division, and then it might not work anymore. Because, to be honest, once you see someone's technique once, you can then stop it because you know they're going to do it.
Start working,
and then you have to do something else to that. So, and thing is though, this is again all in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you
it's
try
a lot of problem solving,
if you know they're going to lead with a throw, I'm going to stop this throw, and then once you've done that, they've stopped the throw. Then you have to already know and think, what can I do after this now, and like do this, and it's all again while a constant pushing battle is happening.
Yeah.
Where
some massive guys just trying to smash into you.
So you can never really let up. The intensity is always on, which is really, really interesting. But yeah, so I mean, that's where again, the cross training really helps because you can then learn from other martial arts. You can learn from these guys and be like, "Oh, so if I did this, I could do that. That's amazing. If I did that, I could do this."
And find different places.
It's helped me so far, really, really quite a lot. I think with doing judo. Like I've been now just recently started training sort of like twice a week now judo. I do twice a week sumo, but I always kind of half that because technically my sumo sessions are also part of my coaching.
Right.
Because I'm leading a club session.
You're not always there working.
Sadly, I'm not always getting into it as much as I want to. So I only probably train like half the amount that I would be normally if I was just like a pupil. And then the rest of that, obviously, I train sort of my own sort of style and what I do by myself in the gym or something like that.
And that's the other thing that we were talking about, I think, which is probably lost to time.
No, we were leading into it perfectly.
Yeah, is the sort of strength and conditioning side of things, because we were saying before, I think a lot of people have this image of sumo wrestlers just these big, giant, fat guys.
Yeah.
But actually, the physicality of it and like the way that I've seen people train, having done a little bit of research on it, is fascinating.
No, it's completely like not what you'd think. Obviously, I mean, there was obviously like I think there was a small study, but it's probably just like common knowledge to be honest. Is the fact that if you got someone who was 160 kilos and obese and put them next to a 160 kilo like sumo fat man, they're not the same.
Yeah.
This sumo wrestler has amazing like blood work. His heart rate's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Is like body fat percentage.
Proper athletes.
Body fat percentage is probably like only like about 30%, 40%, like considering. Because especially if you look at these wrestlers, there are some exceptions where they are humongous, right? And they are just a lot of them. But realistically, if you look at these wrestlers, these sumo wrestlers, when they're engaged, their entire legs are defined with muscle.
That's what I've seen.
Their shoulders are
huge.
Their
legs,
shoulders look like boulders, and they are defined all the way through. The only thing a bit of fat you see on them is just their like belly.
Yeah,
and that's just where naturally their mass has gone. And the fact you can see these real striations through like your quad on these guys through fat still. It's like these guys are machines. I mean, like I said, they train like 4 to 5 hours every day. You know, they don't stop. And the only reason they're that big is because they have to be. They have to eat that much. Yeah. You know, they found that I need to keep this weight to get better and be bigger and eat more. But
just keep going.
But the things they eat are super clean.
Oh, really?
Super clean. There's like no junk food. They're allowed to eat what they want.
See, I thought that would be one of the benefits of being a sumo guy. You know, no shame on a McDonald's.
No, I mean, listen, I bet there isn't. Like, I don't think there is. So sumo wrestlers, like traditionally, mainly eat a dish called chanko nabe.
I've seen that. It's like a stew, right?
It's this massive sumo stew that's filled with loads of protein: chicken, pork, sometimes fish, loads of vegetables, daikons, cabbage, carrots, other bit mushrooms. All this stuff, really, really great healthy foods. And then the whole thing is like a massive miso and chicken like broth. It's like really, really flavorful, rich, dense in collagen and all stuff like that. And they'll have that alongside just like kilos of rice. Yeah, just kilos of white rice. So you're looking at a guy who's probably, if you ate a normal portion, it'll probably be only around 700 calories, but a normal portion for someone. Right. It's very clean, veggie, meat, soup. With white rice. It's like maybe 1,000 calories if you get a lot of it. These guys are eating 10,000 to 15,000 calories of this daily. Yeah. So these guys are putting away like 2 kilos of rice, like a whole pot and a pot of this sumo stew. Like it's really crazy. I mean, but then again, I say this, but obviously they don't eat that every day. So it's always a part of the meal. So they will have chanko as part of their meal, but there might be other stuff like fried chicken karage. That's all homemade, or there might be like some lovely like stir-fried beef dish someone's made. Because in the sumo stables in Japan, they actually all have to cook for themselves. Oh, really? But the way they do it is they take turns. So the younger wrestlers, sort of like the juniors, will basically be put into the kitchen after training to then cook for the entire stable. Oh, right. Yeah, it's actually why a lot of retired sumo wrestlers in Japan tend to open up restaurants.
Oh, cool.
They've just
I guess they've been cooking.
They've been training and cooking for like 15 years, maybe longer.
So, sorry, you're saying, so a lot of them go on to then open
sumo restaurants. Yeah, and you know, some of them do like this thing called like tonkatsu, which is basically like a fried pork loin or chop. Obviously breaded sort of like a katsu curry vibe, but then just more like just a massive pork katsu joint with rice and like a nice like tonkatsu sauce and all that lot. It's very, very tasty.
It sounds good.
It's really good.
Yeah, you're selling.
I know, it's really nice. I mean, sometimes I've also, when I've been to Japan, obviously myself, and I've gone to these sumo wrestling restaurants.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
And one of them I went to was actually a chanko nabe restaurant, and it's really, really interesting because you get in there, and the guy who owns it, obviously sumo wrestler, I've been there multiple times now. I love him. He's like the best guy ever. And he goes like, you know, what do you want? Blah blah blah. And you look at the menu, and it's like, well, like portion for one is like 1 pot. And it's like portion for 2 is like 2 pots.
And when you say pot, how big are these pots?
They're pot, like this big of a pot, right? But then like some people will order a 3 pot for themselves because that's like realistically that's what they do like in the real sumo world. Like they'll just eat more and more, bigger pot, which is really, really interesting. So like I say, they eat mainly clean. There obviously are some little bits in there, but even like a little fried chicken or a little like beef stir fry, it's still not that.
No, it's not the end of the world, is it?
It's not like a natural like, oh, this guy's like
eating cleaner than I am.
Yeah, exactly. and genuinely though, and I really think it is genuinely just because they eat so much, they have to. You know, like we're talking 10,000 calories, crazy like every day.
Yeah,
and
that is a lot.
And they are like they have to. They and one thing that's very common is there'll always be like a massive weight chart in the kitchen room or in the living room area where they're tracking their weights every day because they want to see who's getting bigger, who's not. Like it's part of the training is get big. Like
you're not eating enough.
Yeah, you're not eating enough. Eat more. Like serious. I bet that could be quite a hard thing for some guys who get scouted or start there who aren't massive. Because if you even look at wrestlers now in the pro league, they weren't like born massive.
Yeah,
they're not like naturally big kids. They were just normal kids.
Yeah,
and got told you have to eat 10,000 calories every day.
Hoovering up this sort.
And also, like we mentioned about weight training and gym stuff like that, they do. Back in the day, they didn't do as much. It was more like weights that were left around, sort of thing. Like so, in the stable, there might be like dumbbells or like maybe like some barbells, but like just loose on the ground that you can then just do stuff with. Now, I'm seeing a lot more of them actually doing weight training, like going to a proper gym, having an actual session, doing massive trap bar deadlifts and massive squats.
I imagine those guys have lifted some weights.
Huge weight. And some like bench presses and then shoulder press, like all this stuff. So they do loads of it now. But it's always been quite a, I'd probably say old-fashioned side of training in sumo. It's always really just been like, do the fundamentals, do them well, and that's it.
It's a very traditional sport,
Super
I guess, as well, isn't it? So
even when I do my sessions, when I coach them, I always keep doing the absolute key fundamentals of every session, which is mainly Shiko, which is that big leg stomps, Suriashi, which is the sliding foot movement, and then Butsukari, which is the pushing motion with the foot sliding with it. They're the three fundamentals. You never have a session in sumo without those three, for me anyway. They're just always great. And some people might say, like, so for example, I think I had one guy said, like, why do you do Shiko? Like, it just seems like it's kind of like a bad version of a squat. And I said, well, it's because it's not just about building strength in Shiko. Even though it does build like lower body strength, it's also about the whole body, like using your core stability and balance while holding your whole weight on your whole body weight on one leg, holding that position, then controlling it, bringing the other leg down, switching legs, squat, other leg switch. And these guys, the professionals, will do it 300 to 500 times a day. Like these repetitions are just a joke, but like it really is, and it does transition really well because if you're getting thrown, for example, your body weight will be on one leg. You have to hold that for a period of time. So
plus their weight.
So they train like that, so they can do that on the day and maybe even reverse it or something like that. So it is really important. Even they are very traditional fundamental movements. You have to do them like in anything, which is really nice. But then you see some guys who definitely. I still bring modernized training into it, I always make sure when we do training, the warm-ups are like to a T. Like I make sure I've got at least 15 minutes that everyone's getting really limber, breaking a proper sweat almost. Everything's really loose, warmed up the necks, the joints, hip, all this. Like they have to be, because I'm just a big advocate for that. Whereas I don't know how. Whereas like I suppose in sumo they kind of just go straight into just like the motion. The Shiko is part of the warm-up. Which is fine because it's not a massive like weight bearing exercise.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing it day in day out,
exactly. They're used to it. Much more. Whereas for my guys, I always make sure like get really loose and limber.
Well, that's what I was going to say because that's obviously how they train in Japan and the full time pro things. But I'm always curious about how that transitions to like here, like as a UK sumo guy in amateur things, is what that actually looks like because you can't be doing 10 to 15,000 calories of that soup every day yourself.
No. It's funny. Personally, I'm in a bit of a transitional phase with my sumo training. So I basically used to be, a couple months ago, basically before, I've just been in a bit of not a slump, but because basically I was coming back from an injury. And then September, I had my first August, I had my first competition since coming back from injury for like a year out. And then September, I had my second competition. And then kind of getting back into proper training and all that lot, like, whereas before I was just doing like kind of rehab training and like very light stuff, nothing crazy. But now it's great. So, coming on from it, I did January just quite normal, kind of gearing up for it, just getting ready. And then from now, the sort of February time is my big push of just like really just hammering training. So my schedule at the moment is looking like 2 judo, 1 to 2 sumos a week, and then probably around 4 to 6 weight training sessions.
Oh, wow, okay.
They're not always like super heavy. Some of them more honestly like a circuit almost. Yeah. Specific sort of training things we're doing, but still always kind of on. So most of my my Tuesdays and Thursdays, which are my judo sessions, are also now double session days. So I'll go train in the morning, come home, replenish, go judo in the evening, come home, replenish, sleep, recover. Wednesday will probably be a single day where I'll go to the gym and kind of work stuff that doesn't feel too sore.
Yeah.
Friday will always be probably a lower body day for me, because then I have Saturday off. I keep my Saturday free just because it's nice to have one actual full rest day.
Yeah.
And then I obviously have my Sumo Sundays, which I'm kind of coaching half of. So it's kind of like, for me, it's a mix. I'm still working, but it's not like super hard because I am coaching. So it's more like active recovery. And then Monday, straight back into it, will be on legs. And then, like I say, back onto the whole cycle. For sumo wrestling specifically for me anyway, obviously, because most of the strength of the actual of anything comes from your lower body. Yeah. So I try and aim to do at least 2 to 3 leg sessions a week.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
It's kind of, for me, like, it's the only way, like, I really think it really activates a lot. But obviously, that is quite an intense training week.
I was going to say, that is, do you know what? That is still pretty full time.
No, wait, I know now it is an intense training week, but I do taper off after like 5 weeks. So it's like I'll do that 5 taper week, and then I'll go back. And this is what the plan is now. This is what the plan is going forward from here on, is to do this, to really get into the top level I can be for the next year or 2 or 3, however long it goes on for.
Yeah, smash it.
Yeah, really is. I really kind of, I have my own sort of goals in mind of what I want to achieve, whether in the sport, whether it's short term, long term, but what I really want to achieve. So I really want to kind of take it seriously to the next level now, getting to that point where I can be like, I'm in contention to do what I said I want to do, which is really good. But like I say, weight training is really important. I think it's great to build strength and all that lot. But another thing people I think forget is it's not just about lifting a really heavy weight. It's about how you're lifting it. So a lot of power exercises. So, these sort of like 6 sets of 2 speed reps.
Max effort.
Speed reps coming out, like these sort of things will transition really well for sumo specifically. But obviously you can mix that in with normal weight training as well. So that's what I do at the moment. I'll do like one leg day will be like a normal heavy set, sort of just like leg session. Then the other session might be a full-on power session, just like explosive, non-stop. And the next session might be a mixture of sort of like maybe more body weight activities, really like kind of like box jumps, like really kind of gain that, or like do a broad jump, just really that explosion. But obviously you can kind of do the same thing with just doing it in sumo form. So I might just get down and just start doing explosive suriashi, just super fast, or I might do...
Sorry, remind me what the suriashi is.
Suriashi is the movement in sumo where you're sliding your feet along.
Oh, yes.
So I might do like explosive ones of those, like, so it's actually like something like, recognition to the sport specific. Yeah. Or I might do, weighted suriashis, like holding something here while moving, something like that. So more like a sumo-related leg day. Then you have like a power leg day, and you have like a strength leg day. And then I'll have my upper body days, which is mainly based around one on pull, one on push, just one on back, one on chest is kind of it. Like one form is just like bang, and one's just bang. Yeah. But at the same time, though, I try and do it mostly in sumo form as well. So on a pull day, I'll be pulling, a normal, say if it was just like, say it's a lat pull down, I'm pulling in, but because in sumo, you're always pulling almost when you have a grip, and your grip's really important. So I'll be pulling in with my grip, but you kind of have to hold it for a bit, because you're not just pulling and that's it. So every time I'll pull, really hold it, squeeze, and then kind of let it go up slowly, obviously, as you would just controlling the rep. Same with any sort of pull motion I do, same thing. Pull, squeeze it really tight. It's really tight, and then let it go out, and then like there you go, which I think really helps correlate well for what sumo is when you're doing it transitionally.
Yeah, I love that. I think more places need to do that, and like the sports science thing is definitely evolving. But most martial arts, you can adapt like regular gyms type training and make it much more good for you.
You could literally I could disband anything I just did when it came to weight training and just do sumo related weight training. It would still work.
Do they have a lot of traditional weight training things as well? Because I know they're big on their traditions in the actual sumo, and I've seen that some of the training styles that they do in Japan. But do they have like traditional strength type exercises they do as part of their session, or is it like you say they've got weights lying around?
Well, so I think in their stable it's just mainly weights lying around, but they'll always be doing it. So in between their sort of like bouts, they might be doing some like lateral raises, dumbbell press, or something like push-ups, loads of push-ups. But then they do strength conditioning sessions as well. I don't know how many they do, because I think it depends on which stable you're with. Some might do more, some might do less, kind of depends. Some pretty much staples for that are definitely the trap bar deadlifts and the squats.
Makes
That's
sense.
their absolute staple when it comes to like legs. Obviously, you see them do a lot of bench press and then overhead press as well. Because in sumo, it's a lot of pushing with a lot of pushing, but also a lot of like your shoulders are doing a lot of work getting around to make sure they're nice and strong. Is really important for that as well. But yeah, they do some banded work as well, which I've seen like quite a lot, which is quite cool as well, because they definitely do have like there's someone there doing it. Like there's an actual coach who's like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah,
there is someone
there's some
there.
thought behind
It's
it.
not just like do that for as many reps as you can. Like it is
yeah.
literally just like they do have someone there. I don't know the ins and outs of it obviously, but they do have someone there.
Can you get yourself out to Japan and have a go? I know you've been to Japan.
Yeah.
Have you wrestled in Japan? Or?
I've never wrestled in Japan, but it's a great transition segue because I am going to be. So I'm going over in April. I'm going to Tokyo for a month training camp, which will be insane. I'm training with a university club, as well as a couple other amateur wrestlers who just reached out to me. Because like I said about how the tight-knit community of sumo is so amazing, these amateur wrestlers in Japan just said, hey, lovely stuff, blah blah. Like, if you ever come out to Japan, it'd be great to like have a few sessions. We can get a group together and have a cool day. I was like, amazing. Guess what? I'm coming out to Japan.
Yeah, I'm booking a flight.
So I told him this, and he goes, amazing. I'm going to like spread the word. Do you have any dates in mind? I said, well, I'm obviously here from here to here. You let me know. I'll move around. I don't care. He goes, okay, great. He said, can you do this weekend? I was like, yeah. It's going to be like a big, massive session. Loads of amateur wrestlers he's bringing to like have a big like day of it. I was like, this is sick. I was like, this is great. But like, I haven't done anything. I'm just like, I just want to come train.
Just turn it up.
Exactly. And then apart from that, I'll be training with the university team 4 times a week there, which will be really good. And they're about 2 to 3 hour sessions.
I was going to say, are they like a bit like American colleges or whatever?
Yeah, for sumo, yeah. There's some of them are like insane. Like
that's really funny.
Like some of them are like, they have like powerhouse universities and colleges for like sumo wrestling and other sports. Like it's really, really cool. And also Japan do sports so well. Like if you ever seen like a baseball game there or a volleyball game there, like the crowd's unreal, the support's unreal, the actual like the actual event is usually unreal. But yeah, it won't be my last time back. I hope I'll definitely go back
imagine
again.
not. You seem to have got the bug.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been there before a couple of times now, but never really got a chance to do any sumo there, just because it's kind of like different times of the season. Because a lot of times when they're training for something. So if you'll go there just after, like say, if you went after a competition, you might not be training that hard, so you might have to struggle. But if you're going up there when they're in prep for a comp, that's when you're likely to get the most sessions out of it, which is really great, like really good. And obviously lucky for me, like being able to do that, which is amazing. And then after that, I'm going to go and travel around again for a bit in May, just because while I'm there, going to go around.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. You may as well make the most of it.
So I'm going to go travel around Japan again for a little bit. I'm going to go visit a couple actually other clubs around the country. But like I say, more for like a one-off, like turn up, have a good time. Yeah. There are some smaller clubs based around Japan, even though most of them are all in Tokyo. So most of all the sumo bayers are in Tokyo, basically. But there obviously are some that are based around Japan as well. Visit as many of those as I can. Really good to just, and whether it's even just like coaching side of things, like just watching it and seeing how they go.
Just the experience.
Exactly.
Will change
that's
sort of
it's
how
exactly
you
it.
see it. And
That's all it is. And going in there, such an open book. I just want to get better. I want to improve. Teach me anything you want to know. Like, please. And it should be good timing, because the idea is I would have done that and then I come back home for like June, and then and then the end of June I have the European Championships, which will be.
Oh well, I mean, you can't get a much better training camp.
That's the hope. The hope is I come back and win it. No.
Yeah.
The hope is, that is kind of the idea. Though I come back, I'm really, really like well conditioned, well trained, and then I'm doing one small competition on the 6th of June in Norway. Which would be really fun. Just kind of like
that'd be fun, yeah.
Get the gears going, and then you've got the big like one that I'm really like. It's my kind of like it's my sort of competition of the year of like Euros. I want to try and do as well as I can in. Now, like I said just before about these sort of like goals of mine in sumo. Like one of those goals is to eventually podium at least at a European Championships.
Awesome.
Never had a win once. Oh, I have had a win before, but sorry, I've never like won in my category before. I've only won in the team events.
Okay.
In a bout.
So how do team events work then?
Best of 3. You choose 3 athletes from your country, and they choose 3 athletes. It's random who goes up though.
Oh, so they just go
pre-decide.
You and you.
Well, no, so you pre-decide. So you can't say like who goes up on that. You set your course. So say if it was like me and 2 other guys, it'd be like, okay, Sonny, you're going to start, then this guy, then this guy. And we're like, okay, no worries. And then you get up there, you could be against 190 kilo.
Right. So if you've got a 70 kilo guy on your team,
you're just like, oh, I hope he's not
get
the big guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's how team events work anyway. But that's they only really do team events at like in Japan at like university level, and they also do it in like world championships and European championships.
Oh, that sounds like a bit of fun, though.
It is fun. It also means that we get to like bring out more athletes who maybe wouldn't have a chance because say of a selection process. Like 'cause obviously you have to kind of earn your place almost. And so it's really nice though when you have these sort of opportunities to bring more athletes out. You have free spots that if you wanted to fill just of people who weren't in the competition already, it's amazing.
You can just pick them. It doesn't matter.
Like, well, they still have to be good.
Well, if you want to win.
Yeah, like they like for a selection process, we always usually pick like a podiumer of the British Championships of the Worlds, and then for the Europeans, we actually do it separately to like Scotland and Ireland. So it's England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales who go to compete at the Europeans. So it's kind of like a separate entity, but then we always go to the Worlds as Britain.
Right.
Which is quite nice. So it also again means you have like a bigger crew to like roll up with because we train with all these guys. Like I'm just as close with the Scottish guys as I am with the English guys, if not probably closer to the Scottish guys.
Team Scotland.
Because I've absolutely all the way. Because I've known them for longer as well. Like I've been training since I started sumo. I've known these guys, so like they've always been around. So it's really nice to have that sort of like time of it as well, which is great.
And in a competition, how many matches typically are you doing? Because we started talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's made it in or not, but I know you said sort of you've got these intensive bouts, but they're only 10 seconds. How many are you typically doing in a standard competition?
It's interesting. So say if you looked at the British Championships that just happened a couple of weeks ago, because that is sort of like a bit of a smaller competition, you actually have a different layout. So
all right,
the way it works there is usually we do it in group pools. So 8 athletes in the category, two pools of 4. The winner of that category, each one will then face off for gold and silver, and then the second place of both those categories will compete just for a sole bronze.
Right. Okay.
So as an athlete going there, you're guaranteed 4 fights.
That's good.
Guaranteed. However, if you go to a competition like the European Championships or the Worlds, you're guaranteed 1 fight.
Right. Okay.
So it depends on what you
drop
do.
the ball. You drop the ball.
So, or if you're in, so they just base it off if you're just in one category, e.g., like your weight category. So you'd go there, you compete against someone. If you beat them, you obviously move on, you carry on, and you fight again. If you lose to that guy, you then have. There's 2 things that can happen. This guy could win, which means then you're out. And then if this guy loses, it means you're back in to a loser's bracket.
Right. Okay.
Sort of like repechage.
Like double
elimination, sort of, yeah. So that's the idea of how it works. So if the guy that beats you loses, amazing, you're back in.
Yeah.
But the guy that beats you wins, you're back in. Sorry, my bad. The guy that beats you wins, you're back in.
Okay.
The guy that beats you loses, you're back in.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, great. But really, what you want though is to lose to the best.
Right.
You don't want to lose to someone who's going to lose, basically. So you want someone to. Once you're beaten, you're like, please win.
I want to be beaten bad.
Please win. No, please win. Because then you can obviously get back in and maybe do really well in the loser bracket. But you can't go higher than the bronze in the loser bracket.
Right. Okay.
But obviously, if you win, you could do 6 bouts. Depends on the categories. Obviously, that's really the end of the day. Like it just depends on how many you're entering. But you're kind of looking, like I say, at a normal competition, probably minimum 3, like on just a local scale. On a very high level competition, you can't expect more than 1, unless you're winning or you're against like the god. And that's kind of the way it goes. When I went to the World Championships in September, I lost my first bout, and I was like, oh, killer. But luckily, I was like, he was pretty good though, so like maybe it'd be all right. And then he got Mongolia, which is a very famously very strong
big wrestling
sumo
as well,
team,
aren't they?
and so they won. But Mongolia and Japan are like the best 2 countries like for sumo completely.
Oh right.
A lot of Mongolians are in the professional sumo league. Like they are. Like it's.
But Mongolia have quite a similar style as well, don't they?
They've got bok wrestling.
Yeah.
That stuff crazy. I mean, talking about like we said before about the changing over, do bok would be great, but like I don't know anywhere that does bok in the UK.
No, yeah. If there's a bok guy
you'll
watching,
find them.
come
Yeah,
on the
get on
pod.
it. Yeah. Get me some bok, mate. I'd love to. I've only ever met like 2 Mongolian guys ever in the UK, let alone anyone who wants to do bok.
Yeah, yeah,
But
very niche.
I would love to. Yeah.
We'll see if we can set it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know it's been a bit stop-start, so thank you for your
no worries
patience
at
with
all.
it. Before we disappear, where is the best place for people to follow you and find you?
Well, obviously, anywhere on Instagram would be great. So we have London Sumo Club, British Sumo, England Sumo. Myself is Sonny Sumo Bell. And then, yeah, anywhere at all. Apart from that, we have loads of clubs, obviously, around the country, but they're all sort of scattered around those sort of social medias as well. So, yeah, anytime.
I'll plug everything in the description for whatever platform people are watching
so
or
much.
listening
No worries.
on. But I really appreciate your time, Sonny, and I'm very much looking forward to coming down for
Anytime,
my
we're good to
session
have
as
you.
well. They sort out the dates soon.
No worries.
Thank you.
Anytime, man.
And that's a wrap. Thank you very much for listening. Much appreciated. Apologies again for a bit of jankiness there. My technology was not playing ball with me come recording. So thank you very much to Sonny. Please do make sure you guys give him some support. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. I've since been down to train and I can hand on heart say what a fantastic experience is. It's a great fun time, really interesting style. So please do give it a go. Make sure you follow Sonny on Instagram. He's out of London Sumo Club. You just search London Sumo Club and he's Sonny_Sumo_Bell on Instagram. Make sure you drop him a follow as a totally zero cost way to thank him for his time and expertise. Give him a follow, support him in all his endeavors and get yourself down to your next sumo club. Make sure to support the podcast as well. Share this with someone else. Get yourself booked in and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.